Do you sometimes get the feeling that life is a constant rabbit chase? When I started working as an automotive journalist, the average price of a new car in Germany was around 23,000 euro. Nearly 20 years later, the average price of a new car in Germany is 20,000 euro higher. What cars can we buy today for around 43,000 euro? Let's find out. Just to clarify, I'm using German prices because they more or less reflect prices across Europe. The prices are from the official car makers' websites from late June 2023, and they do not take into account any dealer rebates. And just to make things a bit more fair, I set the price threshold at 38,000 euro, which leaves us about 5 grand for options, a different engine variant, etc. This is my list of the 10 most interesting cars in this price range, and not all of them are crossovers. And we start off with something minivanish and premium. Price of the BMW 2 Series Active Tourer started 35,300 euros, so we have 7 grand of headroom left. Within our 43,000 euro budget, there are 3 more powerful petrol variants and 1 diesel. If you don't go crazy with the engine, you can choose a color, some wheels, upholstery and some basic driver aids. If you want practicality, I suggest choosing the sliding rear seat, which gives you more cargo space when the rear legroom isn't a priority. Also, the base engine variants are not mild hybrids, which means more usable space under the floor, and you can also disable stop and start in them. I took the 2 Series Active Tourer on a longer road trip, and if this generation was in the showrooms a bit earlier, this could have been my car instead of the Mini Countryman. If you're not a minivan person, what would you say to a DS4 which starts at 32,100 euro? This kind of money gets you a petrol PureTech motor with 130 horsepower and an automatic gearbox. A diesel will set you back 2.5 grand more. DS is positioning itself as a premium brand, so your experience will largely depend on the options. And with our 42,000 euro limit, you can still play around. The DS4 has so many equipment variants that I could do a separate episode just about that, but I'll leave it to the salesperson to guide you through the configurator. Instead, I'll say that the DS4 is definitely a car for the connoisseur. You're not buying the most practical car on the market, but you're definitely buying a car that stands out from the crowd, especially with its exterior and interior details. It's certainly a more interesting choice than the Lexus UX or Mercedes GLA, which are just about everywhere. Speaking of rather rare cars, how about the Honda HR-V? Yes, I know, at 32,600 euro it starts at almost the same price as the larger VW Tiguan. Also, the Tiguan is not on this list because there is something much better in VW. Everyone should buy that car, and I won't tell you what it is until the end, so stick around. Good news, you can get the top trim and add some options on top, and you'll still be within the 42,000 euro budget. The Honda HR-V is the largest B crossover, almost the size of a compact crossover. Also, the HR-V has a spacious passenger compartment, albeit at the expense of cargo space. The boot volume is 335 liters or 320 in higher equipment versions. Even the standard equipment level is generous. The hybrid powertrain is as economical as the manufacturer promises, that is 5.4 liters per 100 kilometers combined is achievable. The interior is solid with physical buttons and dials left to operate basic functions, and the HR-V's magic seats are magic if you like to transport plants or something. There's only a slight image problem. The last relatively young person I saw driving a new Honda was my mother, and that was 30 years ago. The next car on the list is the Kia Niro. A regular hybrid starts at 32,590 euro. If you're not picky about options, you could even go with a PHEV for 38,590 euro, but I like my car to be loaded, so I'd stick with the base powertrain. The Kia Niro has a practical interior, an easy-to-use infotainment system, decent fuel economy, and a modern design. I'm just not a fan of the driver assistance systems that make sounds where vibration on the steering wheel could have been sufficient, but at this price point, it's something I'm willing to put up with. But if the Kia Niro can't carry everything you need, how about the Mercedes-Benz Citan? Yes, it's a Renault Kangoo and Nissan Townstar as well. Prices for the Citan Tourer or the People Carrier start at €29,500. Before you decide on a Citan, Kangoo or Townstar, it's worth comparing them. For example, the Kangoo can be had without the B-pillar on the passenger side, which allows for some interesting access. Not every brand offers an extended wheelbase model. Some versions may have an electric powertrain. Also, Mercedes offers a posher version of the Citan called the T-Class to distinguish it from the utilitarian Citan van. Boot capacity in the standard Citan Tourer is just over half a cubic meter. With the second row backrest folded, it goes up to 2,390 liters. The length of the cargo space is about 180 centimeters. The People Carrier has a load limit of 421 kilograms. The Citan can also tow up to 1.5 tons. The only drawback is the folding of the backrest in the second row. They fold flat, but this requires moving the front seats forward more than I would like, and I can't slide them back afterwards. It's strange that designing a van, someone decided to save on a seemingly important issue. And now for something completely different, the Peugeot 408. This liftback coupe crossover is my new Stellantis group favorite, priced from €36,750. You won't go crazy with the engine because the plug-in hybrid blows our budget, therefore you can spend it all on the highest equipment version, the GT trim, but only with the 1.2-litre PureTech engine. The highest trim has a slightly smaller boot that's 508 instead of 536 liters due to the optional focal audio system. There are shopping bag hooks, and the GT trim also gets an electrically operated tailgate. In the rear there are good-sized door pockets, cup holders in the armrest, and a ski hatch. The rear backrest splits 40-60 with Isofix anchor points only in the rear. The 408's cockpit is largely the same as in the 308. I don't like that it takes several clicks to turn on the heated seats or change the temperature settings, but there's nothing I can do about it. The seats are very good, and regardless of the equipment version, you can choose a driver's seat with the AGR certification, which is German Association for a Healthy Back. Worth it. The 130 horsepower 1.2-litre 3-cylinder engine is surprisingly economical. Dynamics are spoiled by the automatic transmission, but once you learn there is no point in making sudden maneuvers, you drive even more economically. If a car with ambiguous body lines is not for you, how about the Renault Austral? Prices start at €30,450. There is a full hybrid version which requires choosing at least a mid-trim for about €41,000, so I'd stick with the mild hybrid and go up the trim ladder to Techno Esprit Alpine with a mild hybrid for €37,000 and play around with options. This is a compact crossover, it's the most popular car segment out there. What could possibly go wrong? Well, Renault has decided to spice things up a bit with things like lever that does nothing. Watch my Renault Austral review to find out what I'm talking about. However, if all your friends drive something boring like Qashqais, get the quirky Austral. As a bonus, instead of the awful Nissan infotainment system, the Austral comes with Android Automotive. I wanted to do Skoda Kodiaq, but it seems to have disappeared from the German configurator, so we'll have to take the Octavia Estate, which starts at €35,870. Unless you're okay with the base 115 horsepower diesel, I'd stick with the 1.5-litre TSI motor and choose something more than just a color. As it usually is the case with Skoda, the Octavia Estate is the most car for the money in its segment. However, you need to be careful with options, as these can soon make your value for money alternative to VW as expensive as a low-spec Audi. Toyota Whatever Cross will sell regardless of what I have to say about it, so I just won't bother. But how about a Hilux? A pickup for less than €35,000. Now that's something, and I'm sorry if you're American, I know this is not a real pickup truck and you can get a Tundra for that kind of money. Europe. Now, the €35,000 Hilux is a single cab, but you can still get a double cab for $39,000, so you can still have fun off-road and your buddies can come along and pull you out. Also, the Hilux will never die, so your 2.4-liter diesel pickup may be the last car you'll ever need. And this is what I call sustainability, not some fancy-ass hybrid shit. And last but not least, the car, which I often forget, and I shouldn't, as this is one of the last true reasonably priced family cars out there. It's the Volkswagen Touran, which starts just a smidge over €38,000, but it's worth it. Get the 1.5-liter petrol with DSG, skip wheels and colors, and focus on the third row of seats and whatever other options you can afford, like the Ergo Comfort seats in the front. Unfortunately, my Crystal Ball subscription expired for this month, so I don't know what else you may really need. And speaking of subscriptions, please consider supporting this channel by clicking join. This gives you early ad-free access to my reviews. Thanks to everyone who's already supporting me in any way they see fit. So, did you find anything vaguely interesting for the average price of a new car in Germany? Which is only 10% higher than the average price of a new car in Poland. 20 years ago, the price difference was 30%. Anyway, let me know in the comment section below if you have any suggestions regarding lists of cars you'd like me to prepare. Let me know in the comment section below, and maybe it'll be topic of one of the future listicles. If you like my sarcastic, down-to-earth and possibly mildly amusing car reviews, join me every Friday at 3 p.m. Central European Time, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video as it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.